Welcome back to Data Driven Recruiting. My name is Sophia Beck, and I'm joined by my co-host Tigran Sloyan.
Hey, Sophia. So it's end of 2020, end of 2019, not yet
Yeah.
2020. And we're talking about the outlook of 2020 and going through some predictions. I'm excited.
Yeah. So that's kind of CodeSignal has done some survey with talent and human resources experts on this topic. What's going to be the big trend that we're going to see in 2020, especially in technical recruiting space?
Cool. So what does the
Okay.
survey say?
So
I
we
haven't even looked
summarized-
at it. So.
We summarized the top 3 biggest trends that we will see in 2020. And number 1 is departure from having a rigid requirement, like requiring a college degree or computer science degree or, experience, this many years of experience
Right.
for this particular language.
Right. Interestingly enough, I've noticed that trend happening this year already. I
Already?
think it was a few months ago when Microsoft, Google, Apple announced that they no longer require CS degrees for their entry-level jobs. So interestingly
Yeah.
enough, it's happening. One issue with it is that unfortunately, it feels more like a PR stunt than they really mean it, because I don't when you actually look at what's changed after those requirements have been lifted is you just apply and you still don't move forward, right? So it's sure, it's missing from the job description. That's
Right.
changed, right? Before the job description said to apply for this job, you're required to have
Yeah,
CS
you're
degree.
automatically, out.
Right.
but-
Now it doesn't say that, but you apply and you still don't move forward. And it makes sense in many cases because there's just too much volume and these companies are not equipped yet. Some of them are not equipped yet to be able to differentiate and handle that incoming volume. So in practice, not much has changed. So I'm hoping 2020 will be different.
Yeah, so there is no good way to replace the requirement they had. And I think the reason they had that requirement earlier is that they want to have a certain level of a technical bar as a minimum requirement. Is that, yeah.
Right. So it's a good step in the right direction. Don't get me wrong, right? I'm not saying it's oh, why are they doing it? No, it's a good
Right.
step in the right direction. It's just I'm hoping to see more tangible impact from it than just kind of good intentions.
Yeah, so in order to do it, you need something that can
Yeah.
help you differentiate candidates in a large volume situation.
Yeah.
Got it. All right. So the second trend that we heard from the community is more distributed engineering team.
That's a good
Yeah.
one. I think
Yeah.
that's been also sort of building up for many years, and maybe 2020 will finally
Will
be
be
the
the
year
year
of
that-
distributed work.
Yeah. So would you first kind of define what distributed engineering team is like? Because not every listener might know what it means.
Sure. Yeah, I think distributed engineering team is basically there's two shapes of it. One is you have just remote teams, like you have a team in Vancouver, you have a team set up in Houston or something like that. But I think most of the time when people say distributed, they mean fully distributed, where basically everybody works from home. There's no offices, nothing. It's just kind of you can be anywhere, anytime, and then you just collaborate and work together.
Collaborate online,
Right.
and you don't necessarily need to be physically together.
Yep, and there are many signs that this is growing and growing very quickly, from collaboration tools getting better and better, right? From video call quality improving to internet speeds improving, which helps video call quality
Yeah,
improve.
even internationally.
And even internationally, to tools like Slack and Microsoft Teams that
Yeah.
are growing very fast in adoption, which again helps collaborate even if you're not literally sitting next to each other and you don't have to walk up to somebody to discuss something. So that's been to Google Docs, which have been on a rise for many, many years, right? So all those collaboration tools make it really easy for teams to work together remotely.
The collaboration and communication cost has gone down because of the advancement in these tools. Okay.
Right. And there's other sort of signs, pretty well-known companies who run completely distributed engineering teams. Like Abstract is one of them, which is one of the fastest growing startups in the Bay Area. They build like tools for designers to collaborate. We hosted their VP of Engineering, Rukmini, at one of the last Go Beyond Resumes events, and she was talking about how she would never go back to a non-distributed team because access to talent becomes easier, opportunities to hire a more diverse teams becomes easier, competition on salary doesn't become a problem anymore. So like all sorts of benefits that are just pushing companies to go that route, and it seems like those who do don't really regret it.
Right, and it seems like there are many research about how the millennials are valuing flexibility of their work much higher than the previous generations, and that's one of the key reasons for choosing an employer. So I think having that as an option is going to also provide that and have a leg up.
And there are even like public companies like Upwork whose the hype has been built around this idea that future of work is remote work, because Upwork is a freelance marketplace where pretty much everybody, if you hire those freelancers, they're not co-located in any way. So
and that they've grown tremendously, right, over the last several years.
They've been around for many years, but it's only in the past few years where they've gone from a relatively unknown company to a public company, and a lot of people are bullish about this idea that future of work is remote.
And trend is there. Okay. Well, the last one, which is technical assessment, which has been done, as a whiteboard testing and so on, or just like back and forth emailing each other the test and answers. They said this will go digital and online.
It's interesting because I guess what I'm thinking about is like, first it's got to be more mainstream adopted, because I think when you think about technical assessments, I guess what they're referring to is just assessing people at all, which is fair. Like I know a lot of companies will hire engineers and they kind of wing.
They don't have a proper setup for assessing skills.
And it's usually non-tech companies, and these days a lot of non-tech companies hire for engineers.
Yeah, so everybody needs engineers these days.
Right. So I can see the concept of technical assessments going digital online in the framework of like, we need to assess people and we need to assess them well. I think what's happening, the weird thing that's happening right now is a lot of companies who are hiring engineers have no idea how to do it. I think that's kind of what people are alluding to, because tech companies have been doing that for a while, right? Like most of them haven't really been relying on just not assessing tech talent, or like not doing it, at least in some shape or form, remotely, right? Like most of our clients have been with us for many years. Right. So it's nothing really new for tech. It is kind of new for companies who are non-tech companies trying to hire engineers, which creates this interesting tendency that like you're trying to hire someone you don't know how to hire. You don't have the internal competency. This is probably the first person who's going to be doing this job. So how do you even evaluate talent? Like you have no capacity of doing it. And this is one of those spaces where I think what's going to happen and start happening more and more in 2020 is that like assessments are going to become more standardized and more, I don't want to say outsourced, but like trusted to a third-party vendor in many ways.
Centralized in a way.
Right, because you don't know how to do it, right? So if you think about a lot of spaces like, I don't know, getting a haircut, getting a solar panel installed on your roof, like you don't evaluate the people that you hire, which is kind of related to sort of the Upwork model as well, like the remote work model. You're going to be hiring a lot of people that like you don't have the competency to evaluate yourself. So you need them to have some sort of a license, a certification, right? Like something that says, hey, you're qualified to do this specific job.
Right. I want my dentist to have done some work and training. Before. Because I will not know, like, are you doing the right job for my teeth? Like, I will not know. So,
exactly. So I think that tendency that like more and more companies, non-tech companies, are trying to hire engineers that and they don't know how to do it. There is more and more technologies out there, right? Like that's the other piece, that every year there's like a new sort of big technology that gains massive adoption, and then all of a sudden companies need to create this shift internally that like we have to move to using this new technology, but no one internally knows how to. And we're gonna go hire, but we don't know how to evaluate for this skill.
Right. So you're kind of idea is that probably in 2020, the adoption of a technical assessment will be bigger in the non-tech company spaces, and they're gonna rely on professionally designed, standardized assessment to make it work. And
Exactly,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Instead of trying to sort of make it work using your own sort of internal
Right,
engineers, because
right.
that only goes so far and
Right.
it completely breaks at scale.
Well, I'm looking forward to 2020.
amazing year.
We will kind of see how these trends that we have predicted will come into real life. So thank you so much for your time today. And we also have the accompanying report. If you want to read about it, we will post that together with this video. For more tips and insights on data-driven recruiting, please visit ddr.codesignal.com.